Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's not every day that one comes across a message like this one. My sincere apologies for anyone I inconvenienced, I convinced, encouraged, or converted to vote for Triple C in 2023. To donate to these sellouts. I apologize to my family for the amount of money I wasted. I'm sorry for everyone else who wasted money and time. I believed in an alternative, but I was blindly optimistic. How many times have I heard people say they supported Triple C MDC because they are the alternative? Alternative was just an excuse. The people of Zimbabwe should have understood the primary purpose of voting for MDC ever since the party was launched in 1999 was that they would implement the democratic reforms necessary to stop Zanu PF breaking the elections. Of course, it is disheartening that after 24 years, without even one token reform implemented, it finally dawns on some people that MDC, Triple C are not, after all, the alternative they were looking for. It just took too long. I should be celebrating that the penny has dropped. But in a world where events, life changes so quickly, taking 24 years to realize that Chamisa and company as Zanu PF Team B in all but name, it's just an outrage. The celebration, as much as one could dare celebrate, of course, are short-lived in this case. Because yes, it's taken too long to realize that MDC Triple C are not going to implement any meaningful reform. 24 years is just too long. But worst of all, that there are millions of others out there who still are as blind as a mole. This is the tragedy of Zimbabwe. There are millions of Zimbabweans out there who will be conned by Chamisa and company to participate in flawed elections come 2028. We are not out of the woods yet. How is it possible that anyone could be so easily conned into believing someone like Chamisa with a well-documented track record of being corrupt, incompetent, and a liar? is the nation savior, beggars belief. But that's where we are. That is the reality, the tragedy of Africa, of Zimbabwe. Our failure to understand issues is at the heart of why we are a failed state. I repeat, MDC, Triple C were launched with the singular purpose that the party will implement the democratic reforms necessary to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. People should have understood, taken the trouble to understand what those reforms are. It's not rocket science. And why it has taken 24 years for some of our intellectuals to accept that MDC, Triple C are never going to implement any meaningful reforms, beggars belief. We really have to pull up our socks if we want to get out of this mess. This issue of believing that Chamisa and his MDC friends are the alternative, even when they have failed to implement even one token reform in 24 years, it's just ridiculous. The ancient Greeks were right that democracy only works if the electorate, the people, are educated, knowledgeable, objective, and diligent in holding those in positions of power and authority to account. In this case, the people elected the MDC Triple C leaders, have risked life and limb. Over 500 people were murdered in cold blood during the runoff of 2008 alone. And yet people have persisted. They soldiered on and elected MDC Triple C leaders to implement the democratic reforms to stop Zanu PF taking the elections. Why people fail to understand what those reforms are, take us belief. Why the penny has taken 24 years in his case before the penny dropped that MDC Triple C are not going to change anything. Take us belief. We are not ready as a nation for free, fair, and credible elections and good governance. And the price we pay for it is that the nation will remain a failed state and the suffering will continue. That is the truth. Like it or not, that is the reality. The challenge right now is stopping Chamisa conning millions of others out there who still believe that he will win rigged elections. long as they participate in their millions, Zanu PF will have legitimacy. And the dictatorship will continue. The suffering will continue. That is the reality. Thank you very much. Have a good day.